Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this postmortem of my Blitz game number 588. Before I get started, I wanted to mention that I'm going to be away from my computer for about a week, so I won't be uploading any videos during that time, but I encourage you to check out some of the older videos on the channel, revisit some of your favorites, and I will be back in a week with more videos, and I will see you then. Okay, let's get on with the game. My opponent started off with d4, played d5. And he goes knight f3, a move that I see more and more often, even though it's not the top choice here. It seems to be very popular amongst Blitz players. Leads to very solid positions for white, particularly if he doesn't go for c4 but continues to play with e3, the call system, or bishop f4, the London system. So I have a system I've been working out against the London system, so I get a chance to try it out here. I think my intention was to play c5 immediately, but I had forgotten that. Anyway, I played e6 first, and I think it transposes, so it's not a big deal. But the idea with early c5 is to have a good square for the knight. Knight can come in here to c6, and also to fianchetto the light-squared bishop. That's my plan. So it was c3. If he had played knight to c3, which you sometimes see, I would have to reconsider my plan a little bit, because with the knight on c3, you always have to worry about the knight coming here to b5 and then coordinating with the bishop on c7. So I may have to throw in a move like a6 there to keep the knight out of that square, since the c pawn has already gone forward. Anyway, but that didn't happen, and c3 is the more typical move here. So I went knight c6, and now knight bd2 would be the typical kind of follow-up. But I would play the same way, and I think we get to a similar position in any case. Let's see, we're just out of the opening book here. I start with b6 here, preparing the b7 square for my bishop. He castles, and I place the bishop there. And then he goes knight bd2, and I play bishop d6. So that's the idea of my setup. I have the bishop on a good diagonal. I may get in the move knight to e4 in some cases. That didn't happen in this particular game, but it can be an idea. And then this bishop here on d6 is opposing his London bishop, which is outside the pawn chain. So that's the setup, and you can see that the chess engine thinks it's about even, and thinks that white should probably go ahead and trade, which I see fairly often. But I also see this move as well, just blocking that diagonal so the bishop is preserved, and that's okay as well. I castle. He goes h3, so he has a retreat square for the bishop, and now I retreat this bishop to c7. This is all part of the same plan. I want to bring a knight over here to put some pressure on his knight, and I don't want to leave my bishop loose on the d6 square. So there can be some tactics there against the loose bishop. So drop it back here. Bishop to b5, starting to put pressure on my knight, but I was going to trade it off anyway, so takes. And now he takes with the pawn, once again striving to preserve his dark squared bishop. But maybe this is not such a great choice, because these pawns will block in his bishop. So when he takes with the pawn, actually my advantage increases a little bit. Anyway, that's how the game went. He took, and then I went with knight d7. All these evaluations are still in the range of about even, so it's not like anything. It's not like it's a major difference in any case. It's just a point to note that black has pretty easily equalized in this line. He's not worse by any means. Okay, so knight to f3. And now f6. According to the chess engine, f6 is not the best choice here. But, these other moves don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Queen to c8. I'm not really sure what that's doing. Maybe it's preparing the rook to d8 move. Or c4. Yeah, it kind of shuts in the bishop, but it gives up some squares in the center here. So I think there's nothing really wrong with this move, f6, just going after the pawn in the center. Well, it has one defect. After this trade, it does give up the square on e5 once again, and you can put the knight there. But I guess this is still okay for me. Now I decide to kick this bishop. I wanted to deal with that. There is a danger that the bishop and the knight will coordinate on the light squares here. So I needed to take care of this move before anything happened. He could play bishop c6 and trade it off. I was thinking that might be something he would play. But I'm still okay after that. The knight comes into c6, but I play queen d7, it looks like. Anyway, okay, and I could also take on e5 as well when the knight comes in after the trade. Anyway, he just retreated his bishop back to e2. And let's see, I went knight d7, challenging his knight again. And he just dropped his knight back to d3. So at this point, let's back up. There was one interesting idea here I missed. Queen b8 is another way to put pressure on that knight and then hit the bishop behind it. So that's actually a stronger move. Not so easy to defend that knight. There's no pawn here on the d file to support it, and the bishop is sitting where an f pawn might come forward to support it. So queen b8 is a good move here. I missed that. I played knight d7. He dropped the knight back, and e3, e5 here is a good move as well. Another missed move. Although these are small things, but they're noticeable improvements in my position. That would give me some more space. But having played this setup in order to trade off that bishop, and finally having gotten the opportunity, it was hard to resist just taking that immediately. But actually, e5 was the better move there. Anyway, this is still good for black, or at least okay. I come in with queen f6. He develops his bishop out to g4, hitting my e-pawn. I bring my rook over to defend. Goes queen d2. I bring my knight forward to e5, harassing his other bishop now. And so far, this game has stayed in the range of about even. Maybe black has some slight edge here. But the next move just gives the game away. And it's hard to understand. It's pretty well known that these two pieces, the bishop and the knight, are worth a lot more than the rook and the pawn, which is what he's going for, especially in the middle game. In the end game, sometimes the rook can take on the minor pieces and do okay, but this is just giving the win to black here, this trade. And so I keep the edge for a while, but actually I keep the edge the whole rest of the game. But at one point there is an opportunity for white to get back in the game as we get into the end game. So let's go forward to that point. He went queen, cancel that. He went queen e2. I went queen g6. Oh, I missed a tactical shot here. Look at this knight f3 check. Really did not think about this one at all. But if you think about it, first of all, I have two pieces for a rook. So if I sacrifice one piece, I'm only going to be down the exchange. And I can sacrifice a piece here and win a pawn. That's the idea. Knight f3 check. You probably should take that. Yeah, I think, what happens if he doesn't take it? If he just moves the king, then d4. Okay, so now he can't take it. He can't take it with the queen. If he takes with the pawn, the queen comes in with check, and that's pretty devastating. So e4 to block the bishop. Yeah, I can start gathering in material. Wow. Okay, so that's if the king runs away. How about if the queen takes it? Queen takes f3. Then I've got the rook on that. Okay, that's not an idea because of the rook. And then pawn takes the main move, and then you have queen here, and so queen takes h3. So what you've done is you've won a pawn for the exchange. You've got a pawn for the exchange, and you've got black's king isolated over here away from his pieces. So there's a simple plan of lifting the rook up and coming over here and delivering mate. And there's various ways that white can defend, but if you can see ahead this far, you might notice that you're just down one exchange, and you have a tremendous attack. So it would certainly be worth going for even without analyzing further. Anyway, I didn't think of that idea at all. I played queen g6. He went with f4, kicking my knight. And the knight has an okay square here. He kicks it again, and I drop back here. He needed to kick it again quickly, because otherwise I was going to pile up the pressure on the e-pawn. So knight drops back here, and then he came in with queen g4. So I think here's where I let him in the game. I should keep queens on. Like I said, it's the middle game where the advantage of the two pieces for the rook is the strongest. I thought this would be a simple endgame to win, but it wasn't so simple. So pawn takes, queen takes, pawn takes, and knight e4. I mean, I do have a great position for the knight. I'm hitting a loose pawn here, but he can push it forward. And then my pawns over here are a bit vulnerable, and sometimes it can be hard to coordinate these minor pieces in an endgame where there can be action on both sides of the board, and the knight is kind of a local piece that has only a limited range of action. Let's see, he went rook d8 here. Oh, I went rook d8, grabbing the open file. Yeah, that was the mistake. So after rook d8, it allows him to trade off a pair of rooks and allows him to get back into the game. So the best way to play here would be either to continue with b5, trying to fix some of the pawn weaknesses over here right away, or bishop to c6, maybe preparing that b5 push. Okay, so rook d8 allows him to challenge the rook. Let's go forward one more move. There's another chance he has too. He played rook b1, hitting this pawn, and I played rook d6. And so right now I think, yeah, this is the best chance White had in the game. It's still an advantage to black, but he could have played rook d1 here and provoked this exchange at a time when my king is a little bit far away, so his rook can penetrate. Let's see, I could play bishop c6 here, but the rook can come into the back rank and just start causing some trouble. He can bring his king to f1, he can play rook to c8, rook to a8, or rook here, king here, rook to a7. Things just kind of stay behind the lines here and cause trouble for me and make it difficult for me to advance my pawns. It's not clear if White can hold a draw here, but certainly it's a much better position than in the game, and it gives White more chances than was necessary, because I didn't really have to oppose that. I didn't have to put my rook on the d file. I could have played in another fashion there. Anyway, he went rook b d1, and this allows me to hold on to things. So I bring my king up, and now if he trades rooks, I can take back with the knight. Oh yeah, that's what happened. And the difference is that if you imagine the other rook being here, he would still have pressure on the b pawn as well as pressure on my rook. So anyway, that's why this doesn't work as well. He trades off one pair of rooks, rook d1, but now my king is close enough to hold on to this. He goes back to b1, but now I can grab the pawn and defend there. And I go on to win from here, so it's pretty straightforward. Nothing much happens. Let's just step through the rest of the game. I just need to move these pawns forward carefully, and also make sure that his pawns on the king side don't get too far advanced. So it's kind of a slow process, but step by step I can move these pawns forward. And finally, at this point, he resigned. So anyway, it's a good game. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and remember, I will be gone for about a week, but I will have some more videos for you when I get back. See you then.